we were just talking about the Negev desert, and I want to continue by drawing your attention to a recent story that appeared on CNN. Now, for those of you who've been following the program, this won't be news to you because we've already covered this, but nevertheless, they've obtained some exclusive images that I thought to show you. So this is about a prison in the Negev desert. And when I say prison, think Guantanamo Bay or think Abu Ghraib. Okay, because that's what we're talking about, really. We're talking about just the most awful conditions imaginable. I really mean that. I really mean that in every sense of the word. Awful, awful, awful. Okay, and you have 3 Israelis who worked in this camp, in this prison, in this dungeon. We should really call it a dungeon. They have come forward to CNN and they have confirmed to them everything that the Arabs have been saying the whole time, right? But now that CNN covered it, it must be true. And so they've told CNN things like, for example, if you are sent to this camp, you are put in stress positions 24/7, blindfolded 24/7, not allowed to talk to anyone 24/7, hands up 24/7. If you do anything wrong, they will cuff you to the fence itself, to the barbed wire. Right? Let me show you. These are photographs snapped secretly from the facility. Okay, you see that? So you got men sitting in a cage. This is literally a cage. That's what it is. This is a cage. And they are all sat in stress positions 24/7. And they're just mumbling to themselves because they're not allowed to speak to each other. I mean, this is some sick torture shit. You know, it's demonic. It's really like, it's actually hell. This is actually hell. I'll show you some of the report that they put together.
The Israeli military hasn't approved CNN's requests for access to Sidi Taman. At the gates of the facility, we challenged the Israeli guards.
How many Palestinians are in there right now? We don't know. Do you know if they're being handcuffed? Are they being blindfolded? No.
This is a facility.
As we leave, masked soldiers approach.
Hello, how are you?
Stop
I'm filming this place.
It's a property of the army.
Oh.
So
Who are you, youngster? From CNN. They tried to take our cameras.
Give me please now. Give me please now.
Hang on, what is it that you want? My camera or my card?
Then order us to leave. Well, we're driving now to meet one Israeli with personal experience of the Sidi Taman facility. It's experience that he says has left him shocked at the condition and the medical treatment of Palestinian detainees there. Hello. He told us he treated Palestinian detainees with gunshot wounds fresh from the war zone in Gaza, but was appalled at the lack of equipment and expertise.
The problem is, Gazans who are brought in are labelled as terrorists, and it is very popular opinion over here that terrorists deserve to die, so they do not deserve the same medical care as everyone else.
Satellite imagery obtained by CNN shows how the Sidi Taman facility was expanded after the October 7th attacks, with detention facilities and makeshift medical bays being added after public hospitals in Israel refused to treat injured Gazan suspects.
I mean, just to call this treated is ridiculous. Treated is when you are taken care of, you know? There is tact and mercy. This is not medical treatment. Listen to what they're about to say.
Eyewitness accounts describe a field hospital with 15 to 20 patients, virtually naked and blindfolded, with hands and feet shackled to their beds and wearing diapers. One eyewitness told CNN painful procedures were carried out by underqualified medics. Treatment, the medical worker told us, amounts to punishment.
In my view, it's the idea of total vulnerability.
Punishment. This is torture. This is beyond torture. You know, torture is like you make somebody listen to Eurovision 24/7. This is dungeon torture. You know, it's worse than medieval. It's like something beyond medieval torture. I don't know how to describe this. It's, again, let me reiterate. You are a medical patient. Like, never mind doing this to someone who is fit. You are supposed to be taken care of medically, and they chain you to a bed by your arms and your hands. they blindfold you and put you in a diaper. That you stay in the diaper and you stay blindfolded and you stay bound to the hospital bed. And you are supposed to be a patient in a hospital, in a medical ward. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. These images are ridiculous, even as a 3D render. These are not real images. They're a 3D render based on the description. Even as a 3D render, they're absolutely atrocious, okay?
Hands and feet shackled to their beds and wearing diapers. One eyewitness told CNN painful procedures were carried out by underqualified medics. Treatment the medical worker told us amounts to punishment.
No, this is not punishment. Punishment is, again, something. This is like abuse. This is abuse, man. I mean, you should have every doctor on the planet calling this out. You know, by the way, when I was speaking earlier about how they were destroying the Bedouin villages, where are all these environmentalists? They don't care what's being done to the environment when they destroy Palestinian villages, or for example, when the Israeli settlers are destroying all of the food and the medical supplies that are meant to cross into Gaza. Is this not pollution? It's literally pollution. Where is their stance on this? But anyway, that's another topic. I go back to my original point. You should have doctors coming out in droves condemning this. You know, this is not medical treatment. This is abuse. This is sick, man. What is that? You know, even if you're a serial killer, you wouldn't get treated like that in a civilized country. What is this? And I want to put to you a very uncomfortable question, but it has to be asked. It has to be asked. In the mass graves that were found at various Gaza hospitals, for example, at the Al-Shifa hospital, many people were found with their organs missing. Their organs had been harvested. Now, these Israelis are confirming to us that you have unqualified, and not just unqualified people, but just in general, the so-called treatment, basically the medical procedures being performed on these guinea pigs, on these lab rats. I mean, these slaves. What can we call these except slaves? That they are painful, that they are unnecessary, and they are, I mean, I don't know what else. But I'm just trying to put two and two together. Right now, the same force, the same Israeli force, the same Israeli occupation is harvesting organs of Gazan civilians. I mean, how are we to know? What guarantee do we have that they are not doing the same to these men? If they already admit to treating them like this, is this not a sensible question to ask? Is this not a sensible thing to say?
Medics. Treatment the medical worker told us amounts to punishment.
In my view, it's the idea of total vulnerability. If you imagine being unable to move, being unable to see what's going on, that's something that borders, if not crosses, into psychological torture.
The Israeli military says prisoners are stripped for security checks and that investigations are opened when...
You see, this is what I can't stand about the mainstream media. I don't care what the Israelis say. Yeah, they're going to tell you for security, they're going to say he had a nuclear weapon shoved up his asshole, and that's why they had to chain him to a bed. Are you a lunatic? You just told me that they strap people to a bed by their arms and their feet, and they put them in diapers and blindfold them. Are you deranged? Do you not speak English? That's called torture, you dimwit. What do you come in here and tell me what the Israelis say? This is what I can't say. They think this is objective. They think this is being objective. I want to know what the fucking truth is, not what the Israelis claim. Obviously, the fucking claims ain't worth anything.
There's suspicion of misconduct. Still, accounts from Israelis and Palestinians inside and the shocking images paint a disturbing picture.
Disturbing picture, man. Oh my God. Again, I can't stand these people. It's like they do good journalism and then they just destroy it. They just destroy it. You know why? Because they have to protect the Israelis. At the end of the day, the editors that run these newspapers and outlets, their ultimate mission is to protect Zionism. They will do anything. Even when there's something as damning as this, they will dull the words and make them use things like disturbing and it's punishment. What is wrong with you? Punishment is like when you tell a child they can't play video games. This is abuse, man. This is torture. Do you not understand what words mean? I'll show you another clip. This is something I had posted back in December. Same thing, man. These men have been released from these Israeli prisons. They're wearing the gray tracksuits, okay? And I want you to listen to what happened to them. This was covered on BBC back then.
Blindfolded and beaten for nearly a month. Signs of their detention still clear. These men say Israeli forces did this to them.
We were out in the cold. The rain was falling on us, and we only had one blanket. They abused us, spat on us, and disrespected us. They did not respect the elderly or those injured.
Muhammad Dawood says he was detained in November as he followed Israeli orders to move south.
We came from Beit Lahia in the north and were moving to the south through the safe corridor. They captured us from there. They interrogated us. Are you Hamas? Are you Islamic Jihad? But they couldn't find anything against us.
The men say they were released at a crossing in Rafah with no phones or clothes of their own.
I was in my house. I told them I was sick. I am an old guy. I am 62 years old. They told me, no, you need to find out for us where is Hamas and where the hostages were. When I told them I did not know, they shot my leg. Afterwards, they amputated my leg. They made me sign a paper saying that my leg was not functioning.
They shot him in the leg and then cut his leg off. What is there to say? These people are Mengele. You know Dr. Mengele? Right? The Nazi scientist who was experimenting on people in the camps. They are worse. They are worse because they claim that they are the ultimate Holocaust victims. And yes, many Jews are victims of the Holocaust, without question. But then they use the Holocaust to do this. They think, oh, if we say we're Holocaust victims, we can behave like the Nazis towards other people. No, you can't. No, you absolutely can't. What is wrong with you? Where are your goddamn brains? What has happened to you? How like, this is one guy. This is one human being. One human being. Look at this man. Look at this man. What they did to him. This is one man in Gaza. Never mind the ones that I just showed you here that are chained to these beds. I mean, like, is it really that difficult to put two and two together? What is wrong with you? This is worse than ISIS. It's worse than the Nazis. It's worse than everything. The most moral army in the world. The most screwed up army in the world. That's what it is. The most screwed up, without question. There's something wrong with these people. There's something insane about them. Again, just so you know, this prison is called Stay at Tayman. Okay, that's the name of it. Okay, it's in the desert, right, in the Negev desert that we were talking about in the Naqab. I want to show you another clip that just crossed my mind, which is also from. So this is from a few years back, but again, it makes the same case. All right, and it's a Palestinian who was released from the one of these dungeons that the Israelis have. Here's one clip I just found, all right, and I'll pull up the other one that I want to show you. These are also people released from these prisons, from the same. You see them in the gray tracksuits, and just listen to what happened to them. You remember these images that came out when they were in the trucks, when they were carting them off? These are related, right? These are related. You have all sorts of camps and dungeons that are set up across Gaza, outside of Gaza, you know, where you're treated like this. I mean, just the most awful, degrading treatment imaginable. Really, it's truly something atrocious. You have people that are abused, you know, sexually assaulted, raped. Some of them have their legs, arms, skulls broken. I'm reading quotes to you, by the way. These are from from Palestinians released from Israeli dungeons back in December. Okay, one person, they threatened to burn his children. Another one had his fingers broken. I mean, just, you know, to the point the bones were ground. I mean, it's really awful. It's really, really awful. There's just one more I have from this prison. It's also in the Negev desert. I don't know if it's the exact same facility, but, you know, same treatment, same everything. This is one of the hostages who was released back during the ceasefire, okay? And you can listen to what he experienced.
في البداية رحمة الله على الشهداء جميعا في كل أرجاء الوطن. للأمانة أنا خلفت وراي 7000 أسير في حالة يرثى لها. إحنا 60 يوم ماشي من الشمس، 60 يوم من الضرب. وجبات الضرب صباحا ظهرا مساء بالشكل اللي ما بتتخيلوه، ضرب على كل أنحاء الجسم، خصوصا في سجن النقب. سجن النقب مقبرة الأحياء. أكثر من 3000 أسير موجودين في سجن النقب حاليا.
Yeah, I think it's the same facility, right? Regardless, they are the same people oppressed by the same force and subject to the same treatment. So it's really just, this CNN expose is really just a continuation of what we already know. But I'll let the man finish.
منهم يعني ناس تكسر رجليها، ناس مكسرة إيديها، من ناس مفتحة روسها. رحمة الله على الشهيد أبو غزالة، استشهد، كان عندنا في القسم، استشهد في قسم 26. يعني نفسيا وجسديا ومعنويا احنا في حالة يرثى لها. أنا يعني اليوم الصبح عرفت عن إفراجي، ما بعرف عن إفراجي، أنا بعرف إن إفراجي بشهر رمضان. فجأت الصبح بالإفراج، ما صدقتش. حاليا أنا مش مصدق، لأنه أنا بعتبر نفسي كما قال الله يخرج الحي من الميت، يخرج الميت من الحي. فاللي داخل مفقود واللي طالع مولود للأمانة. فلازم تتفعل قضايا تخص الأسرى، والصليب لازم يزور. الصليب الأحمر لليوم مزارش السجون، من مرة مزار السجون، وضع السجون يرثى.
Right, so you see the difference is that the Red Cross were allowed to examine and at least examine and accompany the hostages, the Israeli hostages that were released. But if you're a Palestinian hostage and you are released from these dungeons, there's no Red Cross during, after and before, you know.
لها الشباب مكسرة، الشباب محطمة، ضرب على أبو جنب، تحرش جنسي بالمعتقلين، يعني ترقى لحد الاغتصاب، يعني ببالغش لحد الاغتصاب في الأسرة. شتم علينا 24 ساعة، تمزيق للمصحف، تبول على المصحف، منعونا من الأكل، احنا ناكل وجبة في اليوم.
This is the same thing that the Americans do. You know, I interviewed someone who spent 14 years in Guantanamo Bay. The same thing. They peed on the Quran, on the Holy Quran. They would mock the prisoners during prayer time. These are the people never charged with a single crime. They've never done a thing in their life, you know, and they're treated like this. It's just barbaric beyond belief, you know, really, really. And many of them come out from these prisons in the Negev desert. Some of them can't function. Look at this man. You know, he has a breakdown. He can't function anymore. And this is after the Israelis tortured him, you know, in captivity, which they do to everyone. This is not something that's particular to his case, obviously, except for the state that he's in. But there are many others like him as well. So he said they set the dogs free to tear me to shreds in the cells. And then, for those of you who are listening, I'm reading the subtitles for you. So he says, in the cells, the Israelis tied my feet and set their dogs free to tear me to shreds. Yeah, it's you know, it's really, really, really sick. So this predates Gaza. This video I just showed you, this predates Gaza. This is, you know, a few years before the current episode, since October 7th. It's always been like this. It's always been like this. And this is precisely why you had October 7th, because Hamas know what's going on in these prisons and they want to free the hostages at any cost, right? I mean, compare this to how the Israelis are treated. You know, what excuse, for example, The Israelis claim that they have to wipe, Gaza out to free the hostages. They don't care about the hostages. And the hostages are being treated well. We know the Palestinians are being tortured. So can Hamas lay waste to Israel in order to free the hostages? Because if that's the Israeli logic. It's, if you have hostages on the other side, you can do whatever you want. Anything goes. Even when they're well treated. Well, what about when they're being tortured then? What about when they're being tortured like this? If you can lay waste to Gaza to free hostages that are being well treated, then what can Hamas do to free hostages that are being treated like this? And they scream then, oh, we are victims. Oh, we are this and that. No, you're not. You're not victims. You are sick oppressors. This prison, we are talking now about the CNN thing. This is one prison. It's one jail. It's not even in Gaza. And this is what goes on there and has been going on for ages. And in the other facilities, the same thing. If you go to Jerusalem, if you go to the West Bank, it's the same thing. There's torture, sexual abuse, rape, all of it. All of it. And many people, no charge, no trial. They don't even know what the hell they're doing there. So, this is why you had October 7th, because it was a hostage rescue operation. Hamas know that they've got people on the other side that are not even from Gaza. Again, they're in the West Bank. They need to free them because this is what they're subjected to. Do you understand now? So, we go back to a similar treatment between Abu Ghraib, between, the Americans and Abu Ghraib, between ISIS and the Israelis. There's a reason that all of their treatment of prisoners aligns and resembles, and resemble one another because they are one and the same. America is Israel, Israel is ISIS, ISIS is America. They're all one and the same. And that's why you not only see that in their policy and their foreign policy objectives, but also in the way that they treat their captives. It's the most, degrading, fascist, barbaric treatment that you've ever, that you can't even imagine, honestly. You can't even imagine. I think that whatever we know it pales in comparison to what's actually going on in there. I really do. I really believe that. I guarantee you. Again, YouTube demonetized my channel because I'm not allowed to say naughty things about Israel. Telling the truth is forbidden. So if you are able to donate a few dollars on PayPal or on a monthly basis on Patreon, please consider doing it because it would really help me continue my journalism and support independent media. So I'd be very grateful. And the links are in the description and also in the chat. Thank you guys very much again for all your donations and all your kind comments. I appreciate it very much.